There are seasons in every life when destiny whispers through the noise and demands change. For some, that call arrives as failure, and for others, it comes as a quiet dissatisfaction, a knowing that life could be greater if only one dared to discipline the mind. Before another year arrives, you must decide whether you will continue living as a creature of reaction or ascend as a creator of cause. You must evolve, refine, and improve, not casually, but deliberately, because time itself is watching, and time rewards only those who master themselves. Every law of achievement is internal. Every empire that stands has first been built in the unseen chambers of the mind. The world you see around you is only a projection of the world within you, and until you command your inner world, you will remain a servant to the outer one. Improvement is not an event. It is the reorganization of thought around purpose. The undisciplined live by habit, drifting from emotion to emotion, while the master reorganizes his consciousness around clarity. He no longer reacts to life, he directs it. The first transformation that must occur before 2026 is the conquest of purpose. For a man without purpose is like a ship without direction, moved by every tide, guided by every wind, forever busy but never arriving. Life without purpose is labor without meaning, movement without direction, existence without destiny. You must decide what you will serve, what you will give your mind to, what you will sacrifice comfort for. Purpose is not discovered by accident. It is chosen through will. It is the deliberate act of saying, "This I will do, and all else will bend to it." The moment you decide with clarity, chaos begins to retreat, for nature itself bows to a definite mind. But purpose alone is powerless without discipline. Discipline is the structure that turns desire into destiny. It is the ability to act independent of mood, to do what must be done whether or not you feel inclined. Discipline is the visible expression of self-respect, the proof that you will not betray your own future for temporary pleasure. Most people live enslaved to comfort, but comfort is the coffin of greatness. The disciplined, however, understand that suffering is temporary while mastery is eternal. Every morning that you rise and do what others postpone, you are writing a silent contract with success. Discipline is the bridge between thought and result, between vision and creation. Without it, even the most powerful purpose becomes fantasy. And yet discipline cannot exist without control over emotion. Emotion is power, the fire that moves all creation, but ungoverned fire consumes. Anger, fear, and desire are the three thieves of destiny. They steal judgment, waste energy, and blind perception. The man who cannot command his feelings cannot command his actions, and the man who cannot command his actions cannot command his fate. The emotionally reactive live like puppets pulled by the strings of circumstance. But the emotionally detached act from principle, not pressure. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means dominance over reaction. It is the coolness under fire, the calmness in chaos, the ability to observe without panic and respond without haste. When you master emotion, you free yourself from manipulation. You become the eye of the storm, untouched, unmoved, unbroken. To sustain such mastery requires accurate thinking, the fourth pillar of progress. Accurate thinking is not common thinking. It is disciplined perception. Most men think with their feelings, not their reason. They confuse assumption with evidence, opinion with fact, emotion with truth. The accurate thinker knows that every effect has a cause and every problem has a principle behind it. He separates what is essential from what is irrelevant, what is proven from what is imagined. The undisciplined accept information based on emotion. The disciplined verify it through logic. Accurate thinking is the foundation of all decision-making because it protects you from deception, both from others and from yourself. It is not enough to think. You must think correctly. You must filter your mind as gold is refined from dust, patiently, rigorously, repeatedly. But thought alone is not enough. You must train your subconscious mind to obey your higher will through autosuggestion, the principle of directing inner dialogue. Every word you repeat to yourself becomes a command to your deeper intelligence. You are always programming your subconscious consciously or unconsciously, and it is executing your beliefs with perfect precision. The world you live in is the result of the story you tell yourself every day. The undisciplined speak words of defeat, doubt, and fatigue, and the subconscious shapes reality to match. The disciplined speak words of strength, faith, and victory, and the subconscious moves mountains to fulfill them. Tell your mind what to believe, and it will obey. Tell your heart what to feel, and it will follow. Tell your future what to become, and it will align. And yet even this power of thought is barren without faith, the ability to act on the unseen with confidence. Faith is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. It is the unwavering conviction that the cause you set in motion must by law produce its effect, the faithless talk about possibility, the faithful act as if it were already done. Faith transforms uncertainty into momentum. It removes hesitation, and hesitation is the enemy of power. To doubt your own potential is to insult the intelligence that created you. Faith is not blind belief, it is disciplined imagination. It is the ability to see beyond evidence, to hear the silent rhythm of law, to know that what is conceived in thought must one day appear in form. Without faith, discipline becomes duty. With faith, discipline becomes destiny. From faith grows initiative, the courage to act without waiting for permission. The world is filled with thinkers, but progress belongs to the doers. Personal initiative is the refusal to wait for opportunity. It is the power to begin when others are still preparing. It is the understanding that fortune rewards movement, not meditation. To hesitate is to lose momentum, and momentum is the essence of success. Action refines clarity. Every step forward reveals the next. Do not wait for certainty. Act and certainty will arise. But even action is meaningless without persistence. Persistence is the endurance of faith through adversity, the continuation of effort despite delay, the refusal to surrender when the reward is hidden. Every great victory is preceded by repeated defeats. Every enduring success stands upon the ruins of persistence. The universe does not test your dreams to punish you, it tests them to prove you. Those who retreat in difficulty reveal that their desire was never definite. Those who persist through discouragement demonstrate mastery over emotion. The law is simple. If you do not quit, you cannot fail. Controlled attention is the ninth refinement, the power to direct your mental energy with precision. Your attention is the currency of creation. Wherever it goes, energy flows. Most people spend their attention on distraction and then complain of emptiness. The disciplined invest it into purpose and become wealthy in focus. The world has become a battlefield for attention, and he who wins that battle wins control of his destiny. Guard your attention as you would guard treasure. Withdraw it from gossip, fear, and comparison. Fix it on vision, mastery, and purpose. The sun cannot burn without concentration, neither can the mind. And finally, all these powers must unite through organized planning. No dream becomes real without structure. Plans are the skeleton of vision, the frame through which the invisible becomes visible. A goal without a plan is only a wish, and a wish without a plan becomes regret. The disciplined mind treats time as an asset, not a mystery. It maps its movement, orders its tasks, and reviews its progress daily. The architect of destiny builds not through hope, but through method. When these 10 disciplines are mastered, you cease to drift and begin to dominate. You move from reaction to creation, from emotion to execution, from noise to law. The undisciplined speak of luck. The master understands cause. The undisciplined chase pleasure. The master pursues principle. And the principle remains eternal. Until you control yourself, you control nothing. Before 2026 arrives, you must become the kind of individual who no longer needs to be reminded of these laws because they have become your nature. When you command your thoughts, you command your actions. When you command your actions, you command your results. When you command your results, you command your destiny. Every law of success begins and ends with self-control. Do not wait for the world to change, it will not. Change yourself, and the world will bend to your vibration. Every second wasted in reaction is a second stolen from creation. Every emotion indulged without discipline is energy lost to chaos. Every day spent without improvement is a day subtracted from greatness. The years will continue their march, but only those who improve will rise above them. 10 laws, 1 life, infinite potential. Choose to master them, and the coming year will not merely be a passage of time, it will be a transformation of being. For the man who rules his inner world rules all worlds. There comes a time when improvement is no longer an option but an obligation. The greatest tragedy of life is not failure. It is wasted potential, the slow erosion of power caused by the absence of self-command. You were not born to live in confusion. You were born to master cause and direct effect. The mind was not given to you as a toy of imagination. It was entrusted to you as the throne of creation. But a throne requires discipline. Before 2026 arrives, you must rebuild that throne brick by brick until your thoughts serve your purpose and your emotions obey your will. The weak allow feelings to dictate their destiny. The strong use feelings as fuel for purpose. Your emotions were never meant to command you, they were meant to inform you. They are servants, not rulers. If anger rises, let it rise to remind you that energy is available for transformation. If fear appears, let it appear as a signal that a boundary of growth is near. If desire burns, let it burn cleanly, refined by discipline, so that passion becomes perseverance. Every emotion misused weakens. Every emotion mastered strengthens. Mental discipline is not merely the ability to think correctly. It is the refusal to let thoughts wander into chaos. You cannot create from confusion. The undirected mind spends its life reacting. The disciplined mind spends its life building. You cannot rise above what you cannot organize. Therefore, to master mental discipline is to organize consciousness itself, to arrange thought as one arranges armies before battle, every soldier in formation, every idea in order, every emotion under command. This mastery requires solitude. Do not fear it. The undisciplined fear being alone because solitude reveals their disorder. The disciplined seek solitude because it reveals law. When you withdraw from noise, you begin to hear the rhythm of your own intelligence, the pulse of reason, the voice of guidance, the whisper of intuition. There, in silence, your plans are born, your strategies formed, your purpose refined. Detachment is the shield that guards this silence. Without detachment, every opinion becomes a wound, every criticism a chain. Detachment frees you from the slavery of approval. It teaches you to move without permission and to build without applause. The undisciplined crave recognition because they have not yet recognized themselves. The disciplined move in quiet conviction because they no longer need witnesses. Detachment is not emotional distance, it is spiritual independence. It is the art of acting without needing to react. And this independence gives birth to power. True power is not control over others, it is control over self. He who can remain calm while others rage, who can think clearly while others panic, who can work while others complain, who can persist while others retreat, such a one already possesses command over the invisible forces that rule life. The world bows, not to noise, but to order. Every law of nature favors precision. You cannot shout your way to success. You must align yourself with principle. Principle is constant, and only the disciplined can live by constants. The crowd lives by mood. They are strong on Monday, lazy by Wednesday, defeated by Friday. Their energy fluctuates with circumstance. But the master's energy is consistent because it flows from law, not from life's weather. That consistency is what separates the temporary from the timeless. If you would rule the coming year, you must become constant in mind, steady in mood, unshakable in vision. Discipline does not erase emotion, it channels it. The disciplined do not feel less, they feel more deeply, but they do not allow feeling to distort truth. They see clearly even in passion, act wisely even in urgency, and hold peace even in conflict. The mind that rules emotion can turn every condition to advantage. It can extract meaning from suffering, opportunity from setback, and strength from pain. Before 2026, you must understand this. Pain is not punishment, it is preparation. It refines your capacity to endure. It is the furnace where the gold of discipline is purified. The weak seek escape, the strong seek understanding. You do not avoid the fire. You walk through it, knowing that what can burn will burn away, and what remains will be eternal. The undisciplined view challenges as obstacles. The disciplined view them as training. Every difficulty is a disguised demand for a higher level of control. When life tests you, it is asking, can you remain calm under greater pressure? For the law of advancement is simple. Greater power requires greater composure. Self-control is the foundation of all success, because without it, every achievement collapses under emotion. You can build wealth, but without discipline, greed will destroy it. You can win influence, but without control, ego will corrupt it. You can find love, but without mastery, attachment will poison it. Every good thing fades fast when self-control fails. This is why you must not chase more until you can handle what you already have. You must not seek higher mountains while your foundation is still fragile. The wise do not rush, they reinforce. They understand that speed without stability is suicide. You are not racing against time. You are racing against your own undisciplined habits. Habits are the machinery of destiny. You do not decide your future, you decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. The undisciplined change goals, the disciplined change systems. They know that success is not the result of intensity, but of consistency. You cannot improve occasionally and expect greatness permanently. You must act daily, with precision, until improvement becomes identity. Improvement is not what you do, it is what you are becoming. Every thought refined, every reaction restrained, every emotion redirected, each is a brick in the architecture of mastery. You are not merely creating results, you are constructing character. Character is what remains when applause fades. It is the invisible reputation you carry before the unseen laws that govern success. You can deceive men, but you cannot deceive principle. The law rewards order and punishes chaos, without exception. If your inner world is scattered, your outer world will fracture. If your inner world is disciplined, your outer world will align. This is why mental discipline precedes financial success, why emotional detachment precedes peace, why spiritual composure precedes power. Everything external is a reflection of something internal. When you master thought, the world begins to obey in silence. You must therefore take inventory of your mind. Every recurring fear, every impulsive reaction, every wasted hour, these are leaks in your greatness. Patch them, seal them, replace them with principles. Replace fear with focus, reaction with response, and chaos with clarity. The difference between failure and fortune lies in this simple shift. The disciplined act by decision, the undisciplined act by emotion. Decision is divine. It separates creation from confusion. The moment you decide completely, the universe begins to move. Half-hearted will produces half-formed results. The law only serves the absolute. Make your purpose definite, your plan organized, your attention controlled, your emotion calm, and your success is inevitable. But do not mistake inevitability for ease. The path of discipline is not soft. It demands patience, endurance, and solitude. It will strip you of distraction and expose your weakness. It will test your loyalty to your purpose through rejection, fatigue, and doubt. Yet, every test is a torch that forges faith. The disciplined do not flee from difficulty, they evolve through it. Faith in law is stronger than faith in luck. Luck fades, but law is eternal. Those who understand law never fear the future, because they know that effort multiplied by consistency equals outcome. The disciplined man trusts this formula completely. He no longer needs to hope he knows. And when you know, the world becomes still before you. You stop chasing, stop competing, stop pleading, you simply align. You no longer measure progress by speed, but by depth. You no longer compare results, but principles. You stop talking about what you will become and start embodying it. When 2026 arrives, it will not matter what changes in the world. Economies will shift, trends will fade, opinions will fluctuate, but one truth will remain. The world bends to those who have mastered themselves. The rest remain slaves to conditions. Therefore, improve, not superficially, but fundamentally. Refine your habits, control your emotions, discipline your thoughts, and direct your faith. Let every day become a silent ritual of evolution. Let your stillness become your strategy and your calmness your weapon. Success is not a secret, it is a structure. And that structure is built upon the foundation of mental discipline and emotional detachment. No man has ever failed who mastered himself. No empire has ever fallen whose ruler remained composed. No purpose has ever died in the heart of one who persisted with order. The time for casual living has passed. The time for command has come. Improve now, or time will force you to. Discipline now or chaos will do it for you. The year will change, but if you do not, the same mistakes will repeat in new disguises. So decide. Improve before the calendar does. Master your mind before the world demands it. Detach from the trivial and attach to truth. The law is waiting. The universe is listening. The future is watching. And when 2026 arrives, may it find you no longer in reaction but in rule. The years ahead will favor those who are grounded, for storms are coming. The tides of distraction, the chaos of noise, the seductions of comfort, all these will test the strength of your foundation. The undisciplined will crumble because their attention will fracture under pressure. But the disciplined, the calm, the detached, they will rise silently above the noise because they will not be ruled by it. They will not react to every tremor in the world. They will respond only to principle. They will not chase every new idea. They will pursue one idea until it becomes inevitable. And that is the secret, inevitability. Success is not about speed. It is about certainty. Certainty is built through discipline. Discipline creates order. Order creates rhythm. Rhythm creates destiny. The law of life is this: whatever you can control within, you can command without. You cannot change the seasons, but you can plant with intelligence. You cannot stop storms, but you can strengthen your roots. You cannot command the tide, but you can learn to sail with it. The undisciplined blame the weather. The disciplined master the wind. And while others complain of the storm, the master uses its power to move faster toward purpose. It is not enough to know this intellectually, you must live it daily. Each morning you rise, the battle begins anew, between your higher self and your lower impulses, between your purpose and your comfort, between discipline and distraction. The one you feed wins, the one you neglect fades. Improvement is a daily duel against the self you used to be. You cannot drift into greatness. You must design it, and every design begins with decision. You must decide right now that mediocrity will no longer have access to you. You must decide that laziness is no longer an acceptable emotion, that delay is no longer an option, that talking without execution is no longer a pattern you will tolerate in yourself. You must decide that before 2026, you will be transformed beyond recognition, not by miracles, but by method, not by chance, but by cause, not by talk, but by silence and action. For talk spends energy, action compounds it. Talking builds air, action builds empire. Talking impresses the shallow, discipline inspires the wise. There is no substitute for quiet execution. Results speak in the language of law. The undisciplined talk about what they will do, the disciplined do it until it no longer requires discussion. If you want power, build silence. If you want peace, build order. If you want freedom, build restraint. Freedom does not come from doing what you want. It comes from ruling what you feel. Freedom is not the absence of boundaries. It is mastery within them. The mind without boundaries is a battlefield of confusion. The mind with boundaries becomes a sanctuary of creation. And creation is the highest proof of control. You were not born to imitate. You were not born to compete endlessly for validation. You were born to create ideas, systems, solutions, worlds. But creation requires stillness. You cannot design while distracted. You cannot hear inspiration while drowning in emotion. The muse speaks softly. You must be silent to receive it. Detach from the trivial. The world is full of noise disguised as urgency. It will try to steal your time with its alerts, your attention with its distractions, your focus with its temptations. But remember this: you owe nothing to noise. You owe everything to purpose. Silence is not isolation, it is elevation. It is the refusal to engage with what does not expand your mind. It is the discipline to protect your energy for creation. You must also refine your circle, for association shapes identity. You will never rise above the quality of minds you listen to. Surround yourself with those who live by law, not by luck, by thought, not by impulse. The undisciplined draw power from approval. The disciplined draw power from alignment. Do not talk about success with those who mock effort. Do not share vision with those who fear growth. Walk with the wise, and you will become wise. And if solitude is your only companion for a time, embrace it. Solitude is the forge of mastery. It is in silence that you meet yourself without disguise. It is in discipline that you learn who you truly are. The crowd will not understand you at first, but that is the nature of the uncommon. The masses fear what reminds them of their own potential. Do not argue, exemplify. Live so that your very presence is a sermon. Live so that your calm becomes contagious. The world listens to the silent achiever. It follows the one who no longer seeks to impress, but to express the law through his actions. That is leadership. Not noise, not charisma, not control, but composure. Leadership is disciplined influence through example. When others see your consistency, they will begin to believe that mastery is possible. You will awaken what lies dormant in them, simply by living what they fear to attempt. And yet, remember this, mastery is not a mountain you climb once. It is the daily refinement of your inner empire. The undisciplined rise fast and fall faster because they mistake achievement for arrival. But discipline never arrives. It evolves. It deepens with every challenge. It sharpens with every setback. The man who thinks he has mastered himself has already begun to decline, for complacency is the silent assassin of greatness. Improvement, therefore, must become identity. You must not aim to improve temporarily. You must become improvement itself. When growth becomes nature, when reflection becomes instinct, when correction becomes joy, then you are unstoppable. You will no longer fear failure, because failure will no longer be final. It will simply be feedback. Every misstep will become instruction. Every obstacle will become refinement. The undisciplined run from difficulty. The disciplined run toward it, knowing that inside difficulty lies development. You cannot become steel without fire. You cannot become wise without loss. You cannot become stable without storms. Welcome the tests, for they expose weakness, and exposed weakness is strength in disguise. Before 2026, you must learn the art of endurance, not the endurance of exhaustion, but the endurance of excellence, the calm, sustained effort that compounds over years, the unglamorous discipline that builds invisible foundations until the world wakes up one day to call it genius. Genius is simply discipline perfected. It is consistency applied to purpose until mastery becomes effortless. You must live by design. Wake each day with intention, move with awareness, rest with gratitude. Each decision compounds. Every thought is a seed. Every emotion is water. Every action is sunlight. What you nourish daily becomes your future. Starve weakness, feed strength, and greatness will bloom naturally. But above all, learn to listen to the law within. The still voice that speaks beneath noise. It will guide you if you quiet your ego long enough to hear it. It will tell you when to act and when to wait, when to persist and when to pivot. The mind ruled by ego shouts. The mind ruled by principle listens. Do not measure your success by comparison to others. Measure it by mastery over yourself, for there is no competition in creation. Each man is building his own world, and the only enemy is inertia. The only failure is failure to act. The only loss is loss of self-control. When you master yourself, you rise beyond competition. You move differently. You see differently. You think beyond the noise. You act with rhythm, speak with reason, and walk with grace. The undisciplined will not understand your calm, but they will respect it. They will feel your certainty as a vibration that cannot be faked. You will not need to chase recognition. The disciplined attract it by law. When you no longer seek applause, you become applause. When you no longer chase wealth, wealth follows the precision of your value. When you no longer depend on approval, influence becomes natural. This is how destiny unfolds, not through emotion, but through equilibrium, not through chance, but through choice, not through talk, but through transformation. So improve. Improve until discipline becomes nature. Improve until silence becomes strength. Improve until 2026 arrives and finds you no longer dreaming of mastery, but living as it. The world will not remember what you promised. It will remember what you produced. The calendar will turn either way. What matters is who you have become when it does. The man who commands his mind commands his life. The man who commands his emotion commands his power. The man who commands his time commands his future. And the man who commands all three commands eternity. Let this be the year you stop talking about potential and start embodying power. Let the noise of the world fade beneath the sound of your consistency. Let the weakness of yesterday be replaced by the precision of today. Let 2026 not meet who you were, but who you were meant to be. And when the clock strikes the new year, do not celebrate with noise. Celebrate with silence, the silence of mastery, the silence of certainty, the silence of a soul that has conquered itself. For that silence is the sound of victory. There comes a moment when the quiet builder becomes the voice of thunder, when the mind that once whispered someday stands tall and declares now. That moment, my friend, is the crossing, the moment when hesitation dies and destiny begins. You are standing before that line right now. Before 2026 arrives, you must decide whether you will remain among the murmurs of the crowd or rise among the echoes of the great. You have heard the law, you have studied the cause, but now you must become the effect. This is not a time for reflection. This is a time for revolution. The revolution of the inner world that overturns fear, silence, and hesitation, and replaces them with clarity, command, and courage. The mind you discipline today will rule the world you walk through tomorrow. The habits you forge today will become the architecture of your future. And the choices you make this year will become the laws that govern your success for decades to come. Do not underestimate what happens when one mind decides completely. One mind aligned with discipline is greater than 1,000 minds scattered in emotion. One soul united in purpose is stronger than any obstacle that time can build. One heart filled with vision becomes the axis around which the world begins to turn. The universe does not resist the decisive, it rearranges itself around them. You were not born to blend into the background of mediocrity. You were born to command with mastery, to walk in the dignity of discipline, to think with precision, to act with purpose, and to lead with calm power. You were born to create, to breathe order into chaos, to build worlds from thought, to bring law into motion. But to do so, you must burn the bridges to your old self. You must destroy the excuses that kept you small, silence the voices that kept you safe, and surrender the comforts that kept you stagnant. Improvement is not change, it is rebirth. It is the death of distraction and the resurrection of direction. It is the shedding of weakness and the clothing of will. The world will not hand you greatness. You must carve it from resistance. Every law of nature confirms it. Pressure creates diamond, fire purifies gold, and discipline transforms man into master. This is your sacred hour. The next months before 2026 are not ordinary, they are preparation for power. You have within you everything that every great mind before you has ever used. The same law that lifted Carnegie, that guided Edison, that moved Ford, that elevated Rockefeller, that same law hums inside your bloodstream, waiting for obedience. It does not care who you are. It only cares how disciplined you are. It does not serve wishes. It serves work. So, build your life like a craftsman building a cathedral. Lay each day as a brick of intention. Cement it with consistency. Polish it with patience. Inspect it with reflection. And when the world laughs at your silence, keep building. When it doubts your discipline, keep building. When it mocks your detachment, keep building. For one day they will stand beneath the cathedral you built and whisper that you were lucky. But luck is only law misunderstood. Let your calmness become your crown, your discipline your throne, your silence your fortress. Let your composure be your sword and your faith your shield. Let no failure shake you, no fear define you, no distraction divide you. Move like law itself, steady, unseen, unstoppable. And when fatigue comes, let your vision lift you. When doubt whispers, let your discipline answer. When temptation calls, let your detachment protect you. When chaos surrounds you, let your composure lead. For the disciplined mind is not a victim of storms, it becomes the storm. You must feel this truth deep within. The world is not against you. It simply mirrors you. It reflects your order or your disorder, your clarity or your confusion, your law or your lack thereof. If you would change what you see, command what you think. Mastery begins within. There will come a morning if you persist when you awaken and realize that the war within has ended. That emotion no longer pulls you, that doubt no longer dictates you, that noise no longer distracts you. You will feel a silence that hums like power. You will move with confidence, not born of arrogance, but of alignment. You will look into the mirror and recognize not the person you were, but the force you have become. And the world will sense it. Doors will open not by favor, but by law. People will respect you not for your speech, but for your stillness. Circumstances will bend to your rhythm because you have mastered the vibration of order. You will not have to chase, you will attract. You will not have to beg, you will command. You will not have to argue, you will exemplify. That is the reward of mastery. Not comfort, but command. Not applause, but authority. Not fame, but fulfillment. So now, as the final echo of this message reaches you, decide. Before 2026 arrives, become the architect of your life. Tear down every thought that weakens, every habit that wastes, every emotion that enslaves. Build within yourself the structure of purpose, the architecture of faith, the machinery of persistence, the fire of initiative, the peace of detachment, the intelligence of discipline, and the vision that sees beyond limits. Walk into the new year like a general entering the battlefield, calm, prepared, certain. Let the noise rage, you will not. Let the weak complain, you will not. Let the world spin, you will stand. And when 2026 dawns, the sun will not rise upon the same man. It will rise upon a mind that commands destiny, a will that bends circumstance, a heart that governs emotion, a soul that lives by law. You will no longer be a seeker of greatness. You will be greatness expressed. And the world, whether it understands or not, will feel your presence as the vibration of certainty, the proof of discipline, the embodiment of law. That will be your reward, the unshakable peace of mastery, the calm power of purpose, the quiet thunder of destiny fulfilled. Because you stopped drifting, because you chose law over impulse, because you decided to improve, because you refused to remain what you were. So go now and let your silence shake the world.